Welcome to season 7 of Rebirth. This is the pre-season episode giving you some insight of what this upcoming season is going to be. If you are new to Rebirth, welcome. This is a place where we explore the power of intention, aligned living, making decisions from an internal place. So what that looks like is real life stories of people letting go and letting life lead. Because we have these ideas and there needs to be some marriage between the inner world and the outer world. That's where the good stuff happens. When we're aligning with ourselves and making our choices and actions from those places, as opposed to kind of teetering outside of ourselves and looking around and seeing how we can catch up. A very natural human inclination, but here at Rebirth, we effort to this year, I'll tell you what we're going to effort to do. This year, we're efforting to educate and elevate. If you've been a part of this party since 2018, thank you so much. Look at how far we've come. Last year in the fall, this podcast became a book, and it actually hit #1 for Amazon in Best New Thought. That was a really big deal to me because the book was written with a lot of heart, with a small publisher, and all of the praise it got was organic. And the reason that it received recognition on Amazon in the placement of numbers and algorithms was because 48 hours before that book went out, I thought about where do I want this book to sit in the universe. I was going to say the world, but really, where do I want this book to energetically sit? And I thought about it, and there was another writer that released a book in relation to New Thought, and I thought that's really what this is about. It's about expanding and elevating our consciousness through really practical stories, practical people, and realizing that life can be magical in the mundane. I took a break in December from recording to focus on the quiet that seemed to be calling and to let the year end experience and not feel pulled between being here and there. It was a great decision. I don't know about you, but where are you? Actually, where are you in this phase of life? Were you really external this holiday season or were you more internal? Are you able to tune in to the timing on when to be internal and when to be external? For me, I feel like it's a cultivated skill set. So sometimes I'm in alignment, and sometimes I have to really tune in to see am I avoiding something or am I pushing something. Last season's podcast focused on community, creativity, and alignment. All year, there were so many phenomenal episodes in season 6 that if you're new here, I don't want to point out a favorite, but it's worth the time to go back through last year's gems and see what's calling you. There are phenomenal humans doing amazing things, and they shared their wisdom and stories with us. And for that, I'm forever grateful. I think that's the coolest thing about podcasts is that we can create these little spaces in the world where humans come together to talk about empowering and uplifting things. And we want to bring you more of that in season 7. Like I mentioned, our theme for this year is to educate and elevate. Elevation indicates a broadening of our perspective. And I think of it as expansion, not hierarchy, um, a way or resources for us to breathe into our peripheral vision and see from a broader perspective. 2023 is a 7-year in numerology. Couldn't get that numerological out. Still can't. Um, so the numerology nods to heavenly information being grounded into the earth plane. If you think about when you draw a 7, there's a horizontal line and then it comes down. And so the 7 kind of goes across the initial expansive plane and brings that information to the ground. This season, we're going to focus on educating and elevating, sourcing insight to increase our inner vision through wisdom, delight, and hopefully a lot of inspiration. Thank you so much for being here. This year has been my focus. This past year and this upcoming year, my focus is deeply rooted with serving our mission-led authors in Sit and Write, a place where the spiritual and analytical sides of writing come together. That class also came from Inner Alignment. And there's a great episode with Claudine and I. That's who I co-teach with, Claudine Walk. She's my colleague, where we talk about how this container came to be, why it's called a container. Once you're in there, the students, our peers, love it, and they understand the alchemy of the community and the support to create and birth what is asking you for your effort and for your wisdom. Claudia, so I work with the coherence of the book and making sure that your inspiration is aligned with your intention and you keep writing. Claudine, who has her second book coming out this fall, Seen and Sold, she's all about book marketing, and she is an ace at getting you practical traction for your book and building an author's platform. And if this is something that's interesting to you, even if you've already published a book, self or traditional, we have something else coming out in probably late spring. So you're going to want to stay in tune with Sit and Write. You can do that through two ways, really. You could go to my newsletter, katebrenton.com, and sign up there and see when we make our announcements about our second class. So I help crystallize the arc and the messaging of the book, going back to Sit and Write, and keep a community of writers inspired to write the book that they're led to write, getting their wisdom into the hands of readers that need it. I'm also spending some ideas for retreats, both creative and contemplative this year. Many of you may know that I am a holistic health practitioner, and that has evolved in this space of 2023, to help people gain some spiritual insight to stay in alignment with what their goals are. So I'm looking at ways to reach more people with that, since that seems to be what's calling. The best way to stay in tune with me is for you to subscribe to this podcast. Super awesome if you give us a 5-star rating and share it, or my monthly newsletter. And also, I have a sister creative space where I write on Substack. If you're a writer, you might want to look into Substack for yourself for sharing your words. And you can find me at the Golden Thread. On the Golden Thread, I offer informal storytelling conversations in the podcast for subscribers. And I offer about weekly inspiration, making meaning through words, sharing my creative insights, or what is up for me in my world. So that was a lot. Thank you for tuning in. I hope it helps orient you to season 7. Thanks for listening to all that I have to say. I'd love to hear more of what's going on for you in your world. You can share this with your community and tag us, the Rebirth Podcast, if you share it on social media. May you have a day full of delight and unexpected magic. We'll see you here soon at the full start of season 7. Thanks for tuning in.